Thanks, Chrissy. Thanks, Sam. What a great segue to a copper gold explorer. So I'm not David Richardson, I'm David Berrie. David is unwell, so you're going to have to put up with me, I'm afraid. And I'm a bit rusty, and I'm also a lawyer, so my technical expertise is not that great, but I can talk. Without further ado, there's the standard disclaimer. So MAG was born out of a special purpose vehicle that David Richardson and I put together. We purchased all of Goldfields' greenfield assets in the East Lachlan. We gave them 19.9% of the company and took the rest ourselves. We kept it private for a couple of years and then we floated in 2017. So we're currently in the heart of what we say are two of the best districts in the world to explore for copper and gold. We're in the East Lachlan where we're hunting elephants. Unfortunately, we've only got a small gun and we've got even less ammunition. So we're using FMG to help us with that. So FMG came in January the year before last, and they have spent about $3 million and they've just committed to spend another $3.5 million at Mile. MAG's got a focused team, I guess focused on discovery and focused on trying to add some value for shareholders. So these are the two regions. I like maps. I'm a simple guy and maps tell a lot of stories. So on the left you've got the recently acquired Weebo Project and on the right you've got our portfolio of tenements in the East Lachlan. As I said, the East Lachlan is really elephant country. You're looking at Cadia and Parks and Cowell and those sorts of mines. So high risk, high reward. Cadia obviously speaks for itself and the other two mines, especially Parks, we're knowing more and more about since the change in ownership a few years ago. So we're located on those two volcanic arcs, the Molong and the Junie Narromine. I think if you haven't got tenements located on those arcs, then you're probably wasting your time. And some great work was done by Clancy and then Goldfields on those projects. The most recent addition to our portfolio is the Weebo Project, with some assistance from some clever guys at De Grey and who managed to get some prospectors to talk to each other. We were able to cobble together a deal. It took a long time, but eventually in June this year we got it done. As you can see, we're in a nice address. These maps take me back to my Western mining days where the geos always used to talk about big corridors. Well, you've got a pretty big corridor at Weebo. You've got obviously five big mines on that corridor. I always used to say to them, you know, corridors aren't that hard, you're just looking at the greenstone belt. But anyway, they said I was oversimplifying. Look, it's a good address. So let's talk about Weebo first. So, as I've said, it's a good address. We managed to complete the purchase in June this year and we were out drilling in September. So we were fortunate, we had a fair bit of heritage clearance and that enabled us to do some drilling. Since then, we've also applied for new tenements. Obviously, it's well situated in terms of being 30 kilometres from an old Western mining town, Leinster. And it's also within 30 kilometres of 5 major producing gold mines. So the opportunity, if you don't find, you know, 1 million ounces to toll treat, is obviously significant. I think the 5 mines speak for themselves. Everyone would probably know about those. And obviously our tenements are directly on strike from Thunderbox. And the last pure gold exploration was conducted almost 25 years ago. So, once again, a nice diagram which shows mineralisation on strike and in a nice corridor. So we've got some priority targets, advanced targets at Ockerberry and Sconestone, and then we've got some integrated mineralisation to follow up at Otto. So that's a diagram which is too difficult for me to explain, but I guess if you see the presentation, you'll probably be able to follow it. It's you know, intermediate intrusive hosts on a northeasterly strike. So the phase 1 drilling was pretty successful. We were able to raise $3 million thanks to Canaccord. Thanks, guys. And we are obviously spending that out there at the moment. The initial drilling gave us, some nice hits. And we're following that up with 3,500 metres of RC drilling at Sconestone and 5,000 metres of AC drilling at Ockerberry, Skulls Find and Sir Samuel. So, as you can see, 10 holes of RC for 1,580 metres planned, and at Ockerberry, 17 holes of RC for 1,700 thereabouts, 2,000 metres of AC drilling. As most of you guys will know, first time out there you learn something, and we learned something about the drilling. We probably didn't have a rig that was quite big enough to drill all the holes we wanted to on our first pass, so we've remedied that, and now we've got a rig out there drilling right now. We've also appointed a full-time Weebo project geologist who has worked in the area for the last 5 or 6 years. So, 5 kilometre strike associated with, I guess, following up historic drilling. The major hits are listed there. 12 metres at 5.13 and 8 metres at various numbers. I'll leave it to others to talk about, whether that's a saprolite cover. My view is, well, if the saprolite's got gold in it, the gold's coming from somewhere, so let's try and find it. There's an example, a cross-section of the Sconestone prospect. Once again, some nice drilling there, and obviously that cross-section shows that there's some sort of something going on there that's worth following up. Priority 2 is Otto. Once again, following up some historic numbers done by the old timers. Classic goldfield style altered mafic rocks with quartz veining. Obviously we think it's a prospect worth spending some money on. So Weebo's, a good opportunity. As an ex-Western mining guy, it's great to be back in Western Australia, talking about areas that, I have some connection with. We'll keep drilling holes out there as long as we're able and we're funded. And at the moment, we're well funded. There's some surface geochem to follow up. There'll be some work to do in a heritage sense on the new tenements, and most of you in the room know that that's difficult work, but we've had people go before us who've done it, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to do the same. Quickly flick over Otto. I'm going backwards, sorry. So now I'll talk about the East Lachlan. As I said, we've got a joint venture with FMG. They're a good joint venture partner. They've recently committed to spending another $3.5 million. That'll take them to roughly 51%. That's an interest in the Mile project only. It's difficult exploring out there. Mile in particular has got about 100 metres of cover, so it's hard work, and it does involve drilling deep holes and diamond holes, so it's expensive. We've had success at Mile ourselves. We've actually got a small resource that the market didn't respond well to, but the guys did a remarkable job delivering a resource in such a small amount of time. Mile is a world-class project, and it's always been the project that I've liked the most, but I'm just a lawyer. So there's I guess that's a magnetic image of Mile. It's had a lot of work done by Goldfields and us, and now FMG, but there's still a lot more work out there to do. Obviously, the 100 metres of cover makes it difficult exploration, and so for that reason, FMG have scheduled a 9-kilometre IP trial. Now, how that'll work through 100 metres of cover, I'm not sure, and I'm not a fan of IP, but I'm sure there's people in the room that are, and obviously it does help you with the with finding the sulphides. We've also been successful in securing a New South Wales grant, and we'll be using some of that money out here as well. So this slide outlines, I guess, the background to FMG coming on board. Obviously, when you deal with big guys like this, the difficult part is getting them moving. And it took us a while to do the joint venture, and it took us even longer to get them out there drilling. The first program had success, and I guess that's the reason why they've decided to invest a further $3.5 million. As I say, there's an initial inferred mineral resource of 110 million tonnes at 0.33 copper equivalent for Corvette and Kingswood, which are still the two most attractive, I guess, projects on the Mile project. But there are multiple targets out there. It's a large tenement, and it's going to take all of FMG's money, I think, to do it justice. This is I guess, a diagram which demonstrates the size of the park system, and the system we've got at Corvette and Kingswood. The diagram on the right or the map on the right's one I like. It's a magnetic image that shows the volcanic arc, and as you can see, the two producing mines are located fairly and squarely within magnetic lows, and our Mile project has got exactly the same signature. And I guess the mineralisation we found bears the truth to that. We just need to find some more, and I guess hopefully a higher grade. Wellington North is on the other volcanic arc, located very close to the Boda discovery, which I guess most of you would know about. Alkane have done a great job out there. So Alkane Boda, I think, is now combined 14.7 million ounces, so it's a very big blob of gold. Obviously, there are some issues because they've been drilling out there for a while. I suspect that they're hoping someone will swoop in and help them out. So far, that hasn't happened. Most of us know that developing these gold-copper porphyries is difficult, even with a block caving mining method. So we've basically gone slow on Wellington North over the last few years. We've been concentrating on Mile, but once again, it's a very attractive project located on a volcanic arc, and we are looking at doing more work out there, particularly at Boda South, which is very close to the Boda Kaiser discoveries. This diagram shows the Boda and Kaiser discoveries and demonstrates that we've basically got Boda surrounded with our tenements, and Boda South does actually dilate onto our tenement, and the plan is to do some work out there pretty shortly. Parks is another project that we've recently added a large tenement to. We picked up a tenement from Newcrest. Once again, Parks Fault, I think, has got some untold stories. Tommingly, once again, Alkane have done a great job at Tommingly. They've, that's now in excess of 2 million ounce mine. I'm sure it's helped them fund all their work out at Boda, but been very successful in their exploration, expanding that. I guess it's all bodies now, but it looks like one ore body. And obviously that's great news for us. So we've got the Parks project, which does need some work done on it. We have done some drilling out there, and we've got plans to do some more. Don't worry about that. Corporate snapshot, $6.2 million in the bank. FMG spending $3.5 million. So we're well funded, and we'll continue to try and be as lucky as we can by drilling holes. There's the Gantt chart showing activity. As you can see at the moment, we've got two things going on drilling-wise. We've got the Weebo drilling, which will finish soon, and we've also recently started out at Mile drilling holes, various targets that FMG and MAG have agreed. So that's it. Look, differentiation is always difficult. Obviously, Sam helped me with his talk. We've got some nice gold possibilities at Weebo. And we're looking for elephants out in the East Lachlan. The more holes you drill, the luckier you get. So we're just hoping for some luck. Thanks very much.